And Megyn Kelly is on TV saying that Jesus was white and so was Santa Claus. And hey, it's just a fact. It's a historical fact. Kids, get used to it. And so what better day than to talk about how in 11 states, you and I, with our taxpayer dollars, are supporting creationist curriculum, homeschool curriculum, with a creationist bent, which is going to kneecap, in my opinion, this country and these children should they ever decide to go into the sciences or pretty much anything other than going to Liberty University, where you can get in without even having to take a GED. Eric Hovind is with us. He's the president of Creation Today. Eric, welcome to the program.
Hey, Tom. Thanks for having me back. I appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us. Why would anybody want to do this to their children? It seems like it borders on child abuse to be teaching children science in the context of religion when religion and science are two completely different areas. Or for that matter, to be teaching religion as a statement of fact when there are other religions that believe very different things, and there's no comparative religion really in this curriculum, or to be teaching kids that basically Jesus was a political conservative in the modern mold, and that liberals are somehow evil people. I don't get it.
Well, obviously you and I come from opposing views then, because I would disagree strongly with some of the statements you made. Why should we let Christians teach their kids what they believe about creation and do that in science? We find creation scientists all over the United States. It hasn't kneecapped or handicapped them whatsoever.
Well, I'm sure they can find a few, billionaire right-wing Christians who want to fund them, particularly those who own big oil companies who want to fund them to promote a science that suggests that global warming isn't going to screw up the world. But that's a very, very limited marketplace. And my primary objection is that in 11 states, our tax dollars are paying for this stuff.
Well, let me tell you what's even worse than that. In all 50 states, tax dollars are going to tell the kids that they are cousins of bananas and that they all evolved from rocks 3 billion years ago. That's being forced down the kids' throats in all 50 states.
So you think that the minerals in your body did not start out as rocks?
What I'm saying, we did not evolve from a random process over billions of years.
How do you know that?
Originally coming from the Earth, which is made out of rock, according to the evolution worldview.
How do you know that?
No. Because we actually have revelation from God that tells us how it really did happen. He created the world, and there are far too many problems.
Okay, see, I have no problem with you believing that, and I have no problem with you promoting that in a church or in a religion class, but if that's the way you're going to teach science and you're going to do it with my tax dollars, I have a big problem with that.
Well, I have a big problem with my tax dollars and your tax dollars going to tell the kids that they all evolved from a rock, that the Big Bang is what created everything from nothing. That's what they're teaching. Nothing exploded and created.
Well, no, it was a singularity. It wasn't nothing.
Well, where did the singularity come from, and what do they say? They say nothing.
Well, that's one of the
magazine of 2002 in a New American magazine. Alan Guth, a famous scientist, has been writing about this for some time. He says everything came from nothing. And
that's inconsistent with my understanding of the general theory of relativity and the theories on the Big Bang. But B, so what? I mean, there's an enormous amount of evidence that the universe has been expanding for 13.8 billion years. You're trying to suggest that it's only, 6,000 years old?
6,000 years old, that's exactly right.
Okay.
And there's lots of evidence that supports that. I was just talking to Bill Nye at an event he did at the University of Florida. Bill Nye brings up the human population being a little more than 7.1 billion today. And in 1964, when he was at the World's Fair, it just crossed the 3 billion mark.
Right.
When it's an exponential growth curve. Right. It's very easy to do the math.
It has been an exponential growth curve ever.
Today, it goes back 4,400 years.
Except for the fact that the reason why we have the exponential growth curve is because in 1865, Colonel Drake drilled the first commercial oil well in Titusville, Pennsylvania.
That's not why we have the exponential growth would occur no matter what.
We're creating food out of oil. We're doing it all over the world. We're transporting food with oil. We're fertilizing the whole green revolution was based on
the exponential growth will happen no matter what.
Okay. So,
well, I mean, just do the math. Mathematics makes it very simple. Trace it backwards. It started 4,400 years ago.
All right, so this is the kind of stuff that you want to teach kids as science.
Now, what's interesting is I'm not the one advocating that the public school system teach this, because that is science.
We're not talking about public school system here. We're talking about homeschooling that is funded. In these states that offer vouchers, that is funded with money that would otherwise only go to public schools.
Why are you
funded with taxpayer dollars?
The other side. Why won't you say, you're right, I'm forcing you, Eric, to pay for my view to be taught? You can't,
well, because it's not my view, it's science.
13 billion years ago. That's not science. That's a historical idea, but it's not science.
No, Eric, it is science. I hate to break this to you, but science, one of the principal tenets of science is that you never speak, or rarely speak, in absolute certainties. You speak in the context of, this seems to be the. I mean, it used to be that they thought the universe, when I was in school, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, they said, the universe is 15 billion years old. Now they've got it fine-tuned down to 13.8 billion. You're always, fine-tuning these things, but science doesn't declare certainty the way that religion does. You're teaching religion, not science.
So you're saying science can't be certain about gravity.
Science can't be certain about anything. That's one of the core tenets of science is that certainty is essentially unscientific.
Right. So
everything is always open to question. Whereas religion, which is not at all scientific, is all about certainty. Hey, God said this, that's it. You don't have to think about it anymore. Now go on with your life.
No, here's what's going on, Tom. Science says we should question everything. But what they don't let you question is the evolution paradigm. Despite the fact, and I could give you hundreds of examples.
Well, what science doesn't let you question is the cockamamie idea that has only really been around since the 1880s that the universe is only 6,000 years old. That's scientifically that's both stupid and demonstrably wrong.
How come the magnetic field is getting weaker, putting a maximum age of 25,000 years on it? Comets only last less than 10,000 years, and we've still got comets going around our solar system. How come we've got the human population at 7 billion instead of exponentially more than that right now? The truth is the science, the math, what we really see happening today does not support millions
These
of
things
years
you're throwing out, Eric, are not.
We talk about this and educate people.
Are neither accurate nor scientific.
It's very scientific. Why? How come there are 6 doctorate degree professor level teachers at Liberty University, since you mentioned Liberty, let alone the...
Because Liberty University lets you in without even having a GED.
So basically, if they don't believe in evolution, then they're stupid. That's what you're saying.
I'm saying that they can't... I would not want a scientist
that about 60% of Americans
who doesn't believe in evolution
60% of Americans
doing my science.
So 60% of Americans that believe that God created the earth in the last 10,000 years, they're just
60% of Americans are not going to have a shot at being scientists or engineers. And the fact that you're trying to expand that number is really tragic, I think.
Engineers don't use the evolution theory. Doctors don't use the evolution theory.
No, but they use the scientific. They use scientific principles, and they use science.
It's not part. Yeah, exactly. They use science, and evolution is not part of science. So why we would let a bunch of people? Why would we be upset about?
Eric, I'm leaving you with the last word, which you just had. Eric Hovind, creationtoday.org. Thank you, Eric.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
So, what do you think? Should we be using our tax dollars to fund homeschool education that the world is 6,000 years old?